Okay, maybe not. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters.
Good evening.
Thank you for all making it here through the troubling rain that we're having. It's been raining non-stop for such a long period of time. Hopefully it'll be over soon. Tonight we're going to be talking about closing the sale. So as the introduction was mentioned by Amy, that this is a three-part series. First, on the first speech, we talked about the mindset of the cold caller, and we kind of moved through some portions there so that y'all understood what I was trying to accomplish. And then on my second speech, I talked one-on-one with Tracy as we moved through the inside sales process, and y'all got to learn a little bit more about that. Now we're going to be moving on to the final stage in the close of the sale. And the sale is still the same scenario. So before it was that I'm a real estate investor, I'm looking to purchase property. That's how the call went. That's how the one-on-one with Tracy went. And now we're going to be doing actually a more of a group audience here. I was thinking about pulling somebody up here to kind of do a one-on-one at the close of the sale, but I felt like y'all might get lost. And the reason for that is because if I'm talking with somebody for only a short period of time of about 5 minutes, it really isn't going to show you the true scope of what I'm going through or what's going through in my mind as the salesperson as I walk into the sale and what I'm looking for and what I'm doing and my approach and my style so that you can follow along and go, oh, this is what that salesperson is trying to do, and kind of take me along. So, with that introduction, that's our second introduction tonight. We'll go ahead and roll forward with the sale of a home. Now I'm going to be knocking on somebody's door, we're going to be entering, and I'm going to be talking through the process about what I'm looking for. So this person has allowed me to enter their home. They're interested in selling their home. I'm a cash buyer. I'm going to walk in and I'm going to start talking to this person, and as we go through it, I'll be giving you tidbits about what I'm doing or what I'm looking for. So I'm going in, knock on the door, person answers. Now before I even get to the door, do you know what I've done? Nope, not yet, because I'm going to tell you. As I'm walking up to a property, I'm going to be looking at the lawn, I'm going to be looking at their car, I'm looking at the exterior of the house, I'm looking at the shrubs, I'm looking at everything. I want to know about this person. Looking at the property is going to tell me that. Is this a well-maintained property? Have they taken care of it? What type of circumstance they may be in? If it's dilapidated and falling down, oh, this could be a circumstance which will tell me about this person. Okay? So when I go up and I knock on that door, I've already got an insight to this person. I've got an insight about the property and the way that it looks, maybe the type of car that they drive. I even look for stickers on the car. I look for things that go around the license plate, like maybe they went to a particular school, a college, or maybe they're a military veteran. Okay, because those things are all going to be utilized when I get inside. Now, from there, we had actually set this meeting through a phone call. So the real work begins once I crest through the threshold of the door and I'm invited inside. The customer lets me in. We begin to talk. Immediately I'm doing the same thing that I did outside. I'm looking at the walls. I'm looking at pictures of family. I'm looking at anybody that may be around. I'm looking at trinkets that may be sitting on desktops or old newspapers or magazines or anything like that. I'm looking at their dress. I'm looking at the way that they are groomed. I'm looking at their body language. So if they're older and they're moving maybe a particular way, well, that's an indication that, you know, maybe they're having hard times getting around, fixing things, that type of thing. Okay. So as I'm looking at their appearance, I'm looking at their home, obviously, and then their appearance, the way that they look, the way that the interior of the property looks as well. And what this is going to do is this is going to give me insight into the person. And I want to know exactly who this person is and who I'm communicating with. There was a statement that I read, I think it was about a decade ago, that most people read and comprehend at an 8th grade level. Okay? The majority of people read and comprehend at an 8th grade level. If you begin to start talking about people, or excuse me, if you're talking to somebody and your language is high up, okay, and you're maybe talking about acquisitions, and you're talking about taxes, and you're talking about liens and titles and deed to title, things that they may not be aware of, they could be aware of. But what I'm saying is that if you're talking over their head, you're automatically losing rapport. You're not talking to the person. Your objective is to be able to communicate with the person the most effective way possible. And building rapport is a way to do that. So when I look at somebody and I look at the interior of their home, the exterior of their home, all those are giving me tidbits about who they are. So when I first sit down to talk to them, I want to talk their language. Now, if I would have noticed outside also if they had a sticker and it was on their car and they were a veteran or a little license plate emblem, well then that's something I may bring up right when I walk in. Oh, I noticed you a veteran? Oh no, they start to tell me a little bit, oh maybe it's my son, my daughter, or yes I am. Great, we have an avenue that I can go down to build rapport. Now the reason that you want to build rapport is we're actually talking about the most significant purchase they probably ever made in their lives, their home. And you're not going to be able to go in and within a couple minutes say, hey, you know what, I really like to buy your home. It looks like some stuff's run down here, and I'm just going to offer you $100,000. How does that sound? No rapport, right? I just came in, I abruptly said that, and this is what people do. This is no joke. They literally come in the home, they look around, they're like, I tell you what, I'll give you $100,000 for this, what do you think? And the person's like, what? They haven't got their name really, they haven't talked to them, they don't know anything about it. Okay? And I actually had somebody tell me this not that long ago, that they think rapport is, and I'm going to use kind of a negative word, crap. And I just started laughing because I didn't know what else to do. I thought it was the funniest thing that I had ever heard. Through the process of rapport, you are able to communicate with a person on a different level. Now, what does that mean? To me, it means that I have also gotten comfortable as well. Building rapport and having conversation before we get into the details of the money. Before we get into the details, oh, your property's falling apart, but I would say it much nicer than that. Looks like you can use some work over here. Looks like there's some work that could be done on the floor if there's a big hole, right? Let's say, look at that gaping hole, oh my gosh. Okay? But before you get to the money, you want to be able to set that stage to where the customer feels comfortable with you. When you're talking about if they were in the military, or talking about their children, you're talking about their home, or if it's lovely, maybe talking about the career that they had, maybe they're telling you about the difficulties that they're having maintaining that. And you take all this in, so you relay it back to them in a way that creates leverage for you and makes sense to them. Okay, so it's actually a win-win, but it's truly leverage, but it actually makes sense to them. So if I have a property that I want to only pay $100,000 for, but they want $150,000 for, what I want to do is I want to be able to talk to them like a friend. So we can't bridge that gap of $50,000 or $20,000 or $10,000 if I haven't built that rapport. And I can't go as far in the conversation as I might need to go if I'm not comfortable. So it's a two-part road. Rapport is not just rapport for their sake so that they feel better. It's for my sake as well. So that when I'm there, I can leave it all on the table. I don't want to walk away and go, gosh, I wish I would have said that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And the reason I didn't say any of that is because I didn't feel comfortable. So I got to feel comfortable first. And that two-way road of communication opens up. Now also, when you're building rapport with somebody, one of the things that most people don't talk about is it's a subconscious thing. Subconsciously what I'm doing when I'm talking to people, or I'm talking on their level, or I'm communicating about whatever is in their life, and I do it with empathy, or I do it with sympathy and understanding, that is pinging their subconscious. And they are letting down the wall or the barrier. Because a lot of people feel like a real estate investor is probably going to come in and rip me off. He's going to lowball me. That's all he's going to do. He's going to take this property. He's going to make a bunch of money off it, blah, 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 blah. Or she. Whatever the case may be. And you don't want that. You don't want them to be so apprehensive that you can't begin to talk to them. Okay? So through that rapport process, we ease the comfort level, and then I can leave it all out on the table. So, tell me a little bit about your circumstances. They begin to tell me about their circumstances. They tell me about their finances. They tell me that the back room is falling apart. And I go back there and it is falling apart. They tell me about everything they need to say during the building of rapport. And then when we're sitting down at the table and we're going through the close of the sale, I'm going to utilize that information as leverage, okay, to create a win-win scenario. The property or the room and back, it has, the foundation is messed up. It looks like the walls are sinking, the doors don't shut. It looks like there's even a little bit of a roof problem. It doesn't look like it was fixed back in the 2016 hailstorm. Do you have money? And I would even as I kind of slow down and I feel that this is an intense question, do you have the money to be able to fix this? And there's, that's like, it's empathy and it's also sympathy at the same time, but it's also me being a person and me being genuine. If I'm lying or I'm a charlatan or I'm a snake salesperson, or a slick, salesperson, they're going to be able to feel that. If she tells me, no, I cannot fix that, but I need $150,000 for the property. I'm like, well, I could fix it, obviously, right? I can come in, I could buy this property and fix it, but I can only pay $100,000. She's going to say, there's nothing I can do. I need $150 to get out of here to go wherever I gotta go. Okay. We talked a little bit more about the property. We find out that this isn't a good fit. Okay. Find out that it's not a good fit. I can't reach the number that she needs to be at. She can't go to the number I need to be at to be able to make this a workable scenario. So in the case of rapport, I put her on a follow-up list. She's seen many more investors. I'm just kind of giving you a scenario there. She's talked to a couple of realtors. 6 months goes by and she realizes she cannot get rid of this property. And the number that I was at is much higher than some of the other people that have come through, but she feels most comfortable with me. Because I spent that time with her, I was honest with her, we talked about the property, I told her all the things that I need to do and showed her all the numbers about the repairs I need to make, the sale of the process and everything, and she feels comfortable, and then I walk away. Okay? It's not a win-win. Now the reason that I'm telling you this is because in the close of the sale is in rapport. That is where the close of the sale is at. There are often times when you talk to salespeople or sales trainers, it is the objections, and you need to figure out how to overcome the objections. And when you're in the close, you need to really be utilizing that leverage, almost like a machine gun. I mean, they just want you to mow down your prospect. And that just doesn't do it, because all you do is burn up the prospect, you get them frustrated, they walk away, and they're never going to come back to you. They're never going to come back to you. But if you open up the lines of communication, and you begin to build rapport and make a friend, whether the sale works out or not, you're going to win more sales later on down the road. And honestly, when I built rapport, in her subconscious mind, she said, if I'm going to sell to this guy. And it's all because I built rapport. It wasn't because I used some nasty tactic at the end to close a sale. It wasn't about overcoming objections. And objections do not truly exist, which I've talked about before. They are only concerns. And if you can't overcome the concerns of whatever your prospect's concerns are, and you can't figure out a way to overcome them, then you really need to work on that as a salesperson, because everybody has concerns and questions, and you need to be able to alleviate that to truly close the sale. Objections are not, that's such a harsh word. And closing the sale is also slightly harsh as well. Closing the sale is built on the rapport, and the rapport is the way to go when you are in sales. And that is my speech for this evening. Ms. Toastmaster. Supposed to have a Q&A. Did y'all have any questions for me?
Okay.
That's what I was supposed to do.
Go ahead.
Any Q&A?
Yeah, it's not too late.
Okay, perfect. We're done. I got a red light anyways.
All right, fellow Toastmasters.